Now a Project Drive Sober investigation. It reveals the worst cluster of drunk driving crashes in Wisconsin. To Steve now with what he has uncovered.
Carol, in 4 years' time, more than 200 drunk drivers have crashed on just 2 streets. The worst of that is centered on West Dallas. As we discovered, it's a city working to fight a problem that just keeps coming.
It's about 1:18 early on a Saturday morning.
81 6000 block of Beloit Road, and I got a squad with me.
To West Dallas Police Officer Dan Foy, something does not look right.
You see my finger here?
Foy is the department's impaired driving specialist. On this night, working nothing but suspected drunk drivers.
I think you've been a little not forthcoming about everything you've been doing tonight.
It's a job that never stops because there are more drunk drivers out there than police can ever hope to catch.
We try and get the ones that we can get and try and make an impact that way, try and make the streets a little bit safer.
Drunk drivers flow into West Dallas on a current unlike anything else in Wisconsin. Greenfield and National Avenues run from the lakefront to the county line. From 2015 through 2018, those 2 streets saw 222 crashes involving a drunk driver. National and Greenfield, each with 111.
Crossing the border into West Dallas, those numbers go from bad to worse.
On National Avenue from 56th Street west to the county line, 69 drivers were involved in a wreck that involved alcohol. 77 more were involved in a wreck on Greenfield. The I-Team has confirmed this is the biggest cluster of drunk driving crashes in the state.
Do you still think about it?
Absolutely. September 16th.
It happened to Kim Fatigati.
Oh my God, we're rolling.
Sunday, September 16th, 2018, just after a Packers game where Greenfield crosses 894. A drunk driver hit Fatigati so hard, the car flipped.
I knew I was going to get hit, but then I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get rolled.
Fatigati lost her car but escaped with only minor injuries. Hers was the 20th alcohol-involved crash on Greenfield Avenue just that year.
Do you see on the streets what we see on the maps?
Oh yes, definitely.
Compare the problem West Dallas faces with other parts of Milwaukee County, and there is simply no comparison. Capitol Drive, for example, has nearly double the traffic volume of Greenfield Avenue and less than half the drunk driving crashes over the same period of time, 49. It's a similar story on North Avenue with only 55 crashes.
For some reason, something has come together on these 2 streets on the south side of Milwaukee through West Milwaukee to West Dallas. Something has come together to make this the worst of the worst.
Yep. Lieutenant Colonel Tim Carnahan heads the field division of the Wisconsin State Patrol. He also sees what the I-Team discovered because he has the data. Using a tool called Neighborhood Maps, Carnahan's team sends nearly real-time numbers to the boots on the ground, helping them spot trends like the one in West Dallas and find out why.
You start to ask the questions. Where were you? What were you doing? Why here? Is this your route home? Were you going to another establishment? And that way you can get to the why.
In West Dallas, the why seems fairly simple. A cocktail of bars, busy streets, and bad decisions.
What are you up against in West Dallas that's different than, neighboring communities?
We have some pretty popular thoroughfares in our city. Lots of traffic in and out. We have so many bars that people like to go to.
Many is no exaggeration. In 11 square miles, West Dallas has 106 licensed bars and taverns. Per square mile, that's a little more than Milwaukee, a city 9 times the size. But to law enforcement, it's not just the bars, it's the drinking culture.
It's a tough thing to kind of combat against with so many drunk drivers out there. Wisconsin as a whole has obviously a drinking issue.
But we're still fighting that culture. It's the issue of consuming alcohol, realizing you're impaired, and then making that decision to drive and not exploring other options.
When we told Kim Fatigati she was hit on a street that's a magnet for drunk drivers, the drinking culture was her first thought.
That's scary, but there's a lot of bars in between that area.
It's a reality that makes Kim look at her neighborhood differently and makes her nervous every time she drives down that street where she was hit.
And the first time it was like, I hesitated, and I hesitate to this day. You know, I take that extra deep breath and just make one look. Is everybody stopping?
The solution? Police think it's keeping up the pressure and their presence on the streets.
Have you been drinking at all?
Officer Foy is often tasked to nothing but drunk driving patrols, which is why he averages 50 OWI arrests a year.
What I'm going to have you do is place your hands behind your back for me, okay?
Like this guy who failed a field sobriety test and refused to take a breath test. But does it work? Well, if the charge from this morning's arrest sticks, it will be his third conviction for drunk driving.
Last year, West Allis police made 737 arrests for OWI. That is up 6% from 2017. What's not clear to law enforcement is if there are more drunk drivers on the streets or police are getting better at catching them. Online right now, see for yourself. We have an interactive map that shows you the data we used in this investigation. It's at tmj4.com/drivesober.